And we're hot.
Back in the studio.
Boy, tonight's going to be fun.
It's going to be wide open, like Aaron told you.
I ain't going to sit here and jibber jabber around for 10 or 15 minutes because we got somebody tonight. Well, we going to lie. I ain't going to need to keep it a secret.
Yeah.
The GOAT himself, the turkey man, Eddie Salter.
Said we're going to be doing a little different.
Yeah, we ain't talking turkeys tonight. We talking archery, deer hunting. That's what I want to talk about.
We're going to get in them H&S
You reach over and
days.
slap me. Yeah, we going back in time.
We're going H&S strut.
So, anyway, if I get on turkeys, I know we probably end up will. I don't know how we won't, but you just kind of slap me over here or something other because it's hard not to when you got the real McCoy on there.
Well, when I start hearing turkeys, I just drift off into a different world anyway. So,
well, I say let's go talk to the turkey man.
Let's get him.
Hello.
Eddie, what's up?
Hey, man, can you hear me all right?
Man, it's perfect.
It's perfect.
It had to be my phone, Eddie.
Well, it may not be because I just moved around and hit another bar I was in my truck and I hit another bar in it.
Oh,
so,
okay.
You
okay.
know. So
well, either way.
It may have been long. Either way, you got me in it.
We got you. Been a long time since we've had you on the show, too.
It has been. It has been. Yes, sir.
Well, tonight we're going to try to go a little different. We're going to try to stay off the turkeys, and we want to talk more deer hunting, archery hunting. I mean, you're the man when it comes to that, too. I watched too much of that on when you was back with them old boys at HS.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love it too. I love that bow hunting and archery stuff, so we good. I'm good with it. So,
well, good deal. Well, I know most everybody out there knows we're talking to Eddie Salter, the turkey man.
I think there's much introduction.
No, that's nothing to be said, but, why don't you start out? Just tell us, how you got started deer hunting, how old you was, where you was living, or what you was doing, how you got into it.
Well, I mean, hey, I just, it spun off the barbershop. I remember one of the guys I was cutting his hair had an old bare bow that he was wanting to get rid of, and man, I'm talking 40 years ago, and it wasn't much. You couldn't hardly go, hardly even buy a bow anywhere. It wasn't no bow shops or nothing like that. And so anyhow, I bought his bow, and it was a long draw length. And man, I had a hard time.
Was it a compound or was it a compound bow?
No, it was an old
whitetail
Kodiak.
Oh, okay.
It was a compound bow from Bear Archery.
Okay.
And, but anyhow, we kind of started with it and then, just kind of graduated on up. And I ended up getting to, know Ben Roger Lee. And he was doing a lot of stuff, of course, with the turkey and everything. And but he was doing a lot of things with Bear Archery. And he got me hooked up. Him and Ken Tucker got me hooked up with Bear Archery. And I become, one of the pro staff guys and just kind of fell in love with it. And man, and ended up got to go to Grayland, Michigan, to Fred Bear's his own personal bow camp. And really, I learned so much up there, and it was unreal.
So you hung out with Fred Bear?
Well, he was sick. That was about the last couple years of his life.
Oh, okay.
And I met him and everything, but and I mean, I hunted at his camp.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
I actually took his customers and took them bow hunting. And I was basically a guide. I'd take the guys out and get them out in a stand, and then I'd bow hunt some myself. And so, it just spun down from it. And man, I just fell in love with it. It was a lot like, I couldn't learn enough about it. It was like turkey hunting, especially when I got into collaring them and, started rattling them. And, it just, everything just kind of come together. And I mean, it was a fit. If you're a turkey hunter, I guarantee you, if you never have bow hunted, don't start, because you're gonna find another love besides turkey hunting. And so, over the years, man, I have, it, I thought I was a deer hunter until I started bow hunting, and then found out I didn't know anything about bow hunting. I mean, anything about deer hunting. Man, bow hunting is the daylight and dark difference in the gun. So,
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was a big experience for me, and you had to be able to get within basically back when I first started. I wouldn't hardly ever take a shot over about 20 yards. And of course, if you think about it, when you climb a tree and get up in a tree stand, you don't get many, unless you're around field areas. If you're in the wood area, you don't get many open, shots anyhow that you can shoot over 25 yards.
No, that's true.
Hardly. And so anyhow, it was a learning experience for me. And man, I just fell in love with it. And, I got involved with, started having some, and I still have them today. I have a whitetail, a bow challenge where we come in here, we do a 2-man team. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't guess I've ever talked to you and Dustin. I might have talked to you.
Well, yeah, go ahead and tell us about that. We can get into everything else, but that's.
Well, and that's what really, basically, I first started doing that years and years ago. I mean, I've been doing it 20 years on my own, but I guess it was about 30 years ago. I held the first one with some other guys. We were at Camden, Alabama, Wilcox County. You know right where that's
I know exactly
right
where it
down
is.
below Dallas County right there.
That's some of Dustin's old stomping grounds.
Yep.
And you talking about deer numbers, it was unreal at the deer numbers up there compared to what we had in Conecuh County here. That was Wilcox County. And, man, you could go up there, and what I liked about it is you could see deer all during the day. Down here, I think it had a lot to do with, and please, the dog hunters, y'all don't hold me against me, but I think, I started down here dog hunting, and I loved it. I like dog hunting. It's still, I ain't got no problem with dog hunting, but they quit dog hunting in Wilcox County, right at 40 years ago. They eliminated, you couldn't hunt with a dog no more. And I think them deer got used to nobody bothering them much, and you would see deer, all during the daylight hours. I mean, that don't mean you can't still see them where they dog hunt at, but anyhow, when I started going up there and, get on a tree stand and see 20 to 30 deer in the morning and 20 or 30 deer in the afternoon, man, it blew my mind, because down here in Conecuh County, man, you may go a week sometime without seeing a deer on a deer stand in the daylight hours. Seems like they were, more nocturnal than they were up in Wilcox County. So, but anyhow, I started having got involved with some guys, and, we strictly just archery hunted, and we come up with the idea that we would do a 2-man team type. And so like you and Dustin would come in an area, and we started having these tournaments, and you could draw an area, and you'd go in, and you'd have to hang your own stands. You'd have to scout. It wasn't nobody doing all that for you. You were doing it yourself. And it had really become how good you could learn to read sign and, being able to put yourself in the right place to be able to kill deer. And I know for a fact, ain't no think about it, that helped me more than anything else, is being around that caliber of hunters that come in. We were giving $4,000 or $5,000 away. We were giving 4-wheelers away. It was a, competition. And the way we figured it up, if you killed a doe and she weighed 100 pounds, that was 100 points. And back then, you could kill 2 deer a day. So you and your partner could kill 4 deer. And so if you kill 4 deer and they all weighed 100 pounds, that was 400 points. And you killed a buck, he had to be a 8 point or better. If not, you had to let him walk. And of course, we were hunting on property that didn't want you to shoot their small bucks. And
sure,
but we were killing good deer. And but if you killed a buck, we'd go. If he was an 8 point, we'd go 10 times his 8 points. That was 80 points. And if you weighed 200 pounds, that was 200 points there. So that was 280 points. And in 3 days, we'd add up all these points. And that way we would declare the winner out of it like that. And, the first year we had that in Camden up there, on a 3-day hunt, we killed 48 deer. And
wow,
it was unreal. You couldn't, with bows now.
Yeah.
And what I was doing, I was helping host it. I was, going out, and we were dragging deer and all that to 10, 11 o'clock at night. And, and I got to deal with some of these guys. Jerry Simmons, I met Jerry Simmons on that hunt. It used to make a broadhead. He was out of Jasper, Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
Up y'all's way.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Just down the road.
And he was a killing machine, guy. That guy, I learned so much from him. And, and I would ask him, well, why did you put your stand right here? And he said, well, son, there's 4 or 5 white oaks right here. And I got cover right there. I can hide good. And when they come in here, I'm able to get a shot at them. And, I learned so much by being around that many bow hunters and asking questions. And, boy, it lit a fire under me. And, it just exploded from that. I started selling deer calls and deer grunts, and I started selling deer scent. I used to make a machine. It was called a scent dispenser, about like was a little bit bigger than a Coca-Cola can that you could put your scent down in. It had a little reservoir, and it had a 9-volt battery, and it would pull your scent. You could put cotton balls in it, or we formulated some pellets that I had a guy to make me some pellets, and it would actually pull them pellets and pull them scents, or you could put regular doe urine on a cotton ball and it'd pull it up and it would disperse it out. And you could make the airflow. And man, we had deer coming up, sticking their horns, we had it hanging up with a, like a lanyard. Mm-hmm. And I had them to hang the horns in it and towed it off down through the woods. I learned so much, but the biggest thing was that, when I sold out and went to work with Hunter Specialties, and they were introducing, they had a bunch of different scents. And the main thing that helped me the most was learning how to be scent free. And I think, I know today that helped me more than anything else. And I'll tell anybody, especially if you bow hunting, being scent free, you can't get any better than that. Is it possible to eliminate all human odor? No, it's not. It's no way. It's going to be something somewhere that a deer can still pick you up. His nose is so good, but there's so many little things that, like, taking a shower and trying to get yourself as scent free as you possibly can. And, I used to take my clothes and I would wash them, and we would put them in a scent-proof bag, and I would try to eliminate all, the human odor I possibly could. You think about it, you're taking, as an old bow hunter, we'd take our clothes and we'd wash them, and we'd hang them up in the house, and then, your clothes will end up smelling just like your house. If you've been, let me point out an example. If you fry fish in your house and, come back, an hour and a half later, what do you smell when you walk in your house? You smell fish. And so if you hang your clothes in your house, guess what? Your clothes is going to smell like that. So you need to, you go to all the means of washing your clothes to get them as scent free. Put them in something that will protect them, that they won't pick up household odors. And, like going to, we used to take a shower. I would take 2 showers a day when I worked with hunter specialties. And when I was hunting these big bucks across the country, I would take a shower in the morning, and then we'd come in and I'd take another shower before I went out in the afternoon. And I would get dressed in the woods. I wouldn't get dressed in the camp and go to the woods. I would get dressed in the field. And, a lot of guys, they liable to get, take a shower in the early mornings and get, good scent-free clothes. And they decide they want to go to the Waffle House and sit there with all that bacon and grease and all that. And they going to smell like the Waffle House when they hit the woods out there. So it's a lot of things. I mean, man, I could sit here and talk to y'all forever about the things that, has helped me out. But being scent free probably helped me more than anything else. And another thing too, I learned to, access my stands, and I learned to exit my stands. A lot of times when it gets dark, a lot of times after we go to the stand, we'll hunt our way into the stand, bow hunting. We'll just be slipping along through there and then being as quiet as we can. We'll tie a bow to a rope and then we'll pull it up. But as soon as it gets dark, we throwing junk out of tree stands, and we coming down, and we sound like a freight train coming out of the tree stand. Well, guess what, boys? You may have just run the biggest buck off, and guess what? He may not ever come back. And so it's so many things as a bow hunter that I've learned, and I don't know nothing. I think I just scratched the bucket, but it's been exciting for me. Best I ever done. I killed 4 Pope and Youngs 1 year throughout the country, killing a deer that scored over 125 points. And the biggest deer I ever killed with my bow scored 182. I killed him in Iowa 1 year, all on video. I killed all them Pope and Youngs. That year I killed a big deer with Michael Waddell. We were up there, got invited to on Real Tree on Monster Buck. Yeah. That was actually the first biggest deer I ever killed. And he wasn't that big. He scored 155 points. But that was the largest deer that I ever killed in my life, guys. I mean, that was way back yonder. That was in the late 80s, early 90s up in there. And, it might have been somewhere 94, 95, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Well,
but go ahead. And I'm running my mouth.
No. What I was wanting to do is I kind of heard the story on the 180. I heard you on Alex's podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Me and Alex went, and we went in the area right there, and I told Alex, I said, now, look, right here is where I want to hunt. Everything's coming together right here. These deer are going to be back and forth in here. Man, I said, we'll rattle some. And Alex got there, and he was gracious enough. I had basically, I didn't want to tell too much about Alex, but Alex is a good hunter.
He is.
But I basically pointed the tree out and told him what tree I wanted him to put that stand in. And of course, he wanted to take all the credit that he done everything. but hey, and he did. He put all the stands up, but I grunted and rattled my biggest deer up, scored 182 right there. And Alex actually hung that stand for me right there. And he killed on that same hunt, I think he killed about 160 deer that year on the same hunt, like a day before I got there.
Well, that all goes back to y'all were in there scouting before all this hunt. I mean, you already saw the sign and picked out your tree. I mean, that's a big thing in bow hunting.
Yeah, it is.
Well, really any hunting.
And this was honestly 6 weeks before deer season ever even come in. We were up there looking it over, and and that's what you got to do. You got to do your homework, and a lot of times, and that's about being scent free. And I don't even I don't even, I don't even hunt with a billfold. I put my billfold and all my license and stuff. I put it in a Ziploc bag and leave it in my truck. Think about your billfold with that old leather and what it gets used to. And, you stick that in your back pocket. Well, you're going to have scent coming off of that. We used to wear them watch bands, which nobody wears a watch anymore, but used to wear them old leather watch bands or cloth watch bands, and you'd be sweating in it. And, you take your hat. Everybody loves the old, that's my lucky hat. And that thing, they don't never wash it or whatever. And it's got so much, where you sweated in it and all that. Honestly, a deer can pick it out in a heartbeat. And, you are in that deer's living room. We just, we gracious enough to be in his living room, and you go out there and, honestly, he can pick you up a lot easier than you think he can.
Oh yeah. Them deer don't get old by being dumb. They get smarter every year. And they don't forget either.
And, the main thing about deer hunting is food's gonna control everything. That's where you want to hunt yourself. Where you got the most amount of does or what. Like I was. I was just talking to a friend of mine today. We were talking about. Well, he asked me when the bucks come in rut down here in Alabama. I said, well, my opinion, bucks comes in rut when the horns get hard. It's the does that comes in rut.
Yeah,
they the one that's really coming in looking for bucks. But that buck is ready now. And then a lot of times, just like when I killed them deer in the Midwest up there, I would get me a good where bucks have been hooking down through the woods, and you could look up and you'd see a scrape a hook about every 10 yards or so, and you can see a whole line going down through there. And, and I learned too, a lot of times, walking them where they've been hooking the horns at, and then they'd be scraping down there, and I'd find some scrapes as big as the hood of my truck. And, and I learned to, a lot of people wanted to, and a lot of people would tell me when I first started hunt right over the top of the scrapes. Well, no, you don't want to do that. I want to point out one thing. If you, let's just say you got some bunch of scrapes and you got some hooks where them, really the trees have been knocking barks off, hooking them trees down through there for about 100 yards or so. Well, he's coming up through there, and, what he's doing is, he's telling the does, hey, it's most of the time, a lot of that's got a lot to do with food source. There's a food source in there, and you got a lot of deer traveling, and that buck's laying down and telling them does, hey, if you're ready now, you come here and in this scrape, and you leave your business card, and I'll pick up on you, and I'll follow you down. I'll look you up and give you a call. But what I was going to say, let me point this out. If you look in, let's just say north and south, you got a scrape line running north and south, and you got scrapes all over the place right there. And I found out if I would get about 75 yards off of the scrape sign and pick out more dominant wind, we get a lot. And normally in early season, we'll get, especially in the early part of when them bucks or when them does really start coming in their ester cycle, we still have a lot of west and a lot of north wind. But what if that was the case? Let's say on the west, what I would do if the wind is blowing from the west, I would set up on the east side. And I would also, if we talked about north and south, I would put a stand over there. And then I would also put a stand on the west side. And if we got east wind, which sometimes we don't get a lot of it, but what happens is, you take, for instance, if that buck comes in, he don't walk them scrapes and he don't walk them hooks where he been hooking and tearing them trees up right down through to where you can see him. He gets off and he lets the wind dictate where if he wants to come up there. And what I'm talking about is he'll walk parallel with that. If the wind is blowing from the west, he's going to be on the east side, and he's liable to walk 150 or so yards or so down parallel with that till he hits where a doe may be urinated in a scrape right there. And if he picks that up, then he's liable to turn and come right in that scrape right there. And if he don't pick it up, well, guess what, guys? He's liable to come in and check that. And if you sitting over the top of it, you will never see it. He's out there about 75 yards in the thicket, and you're bow hunting and you won't never see it. So, and then if wind is coming, if it's coming from the east, so get in your west stand over there, or vice versa, north and south. Depends on which way it's running up. Do you get what I'm talking about?
I get exactly what you're talking about. Now, from a scrape, do you think you can kind of pattern which direction they coming in from, or you just?
Yes, sir. You sure can. What you gonna do is a lot of times you walk up through there, you can check out. You'll find some small scrapes. Won't be much bigger than the hood of my steering. I mean, not big in my hood of my truck. No, much bigger than my steering wheel in my truck. And what he'll do is he'll stand there and kick out a few leaves, and that's his checking scrapes right there. And that's where you want to put your stand. If you'll do a little bit and be real clean, and look at here, when you in the woods scouting for all this stuff, wear rubber gloves, because what happens is, I guarantee you could get out of your truck, most 90% of the guys, and walk to the tree stand if it's 300 or 400 yards down through the woods. And when you get to your tree stand, you could turn around and imagine everything you touched would turn to white, like you had paint on your hands, because you grabbed these limbs and you moved them out of the way where you can tote your bow, won't hit your bow. You constantly reaching and grabbing stuff. And guess what? You got more scent coming out of your hands than anything possible, just about. Your hair and you coming out of your hands. And that's just saying that a lot of guys won't pay attention what they grabbing and moving out of the way. And you just stringing human scent all up and down your way to your stand right there. But if you'll pay a little bit of attention to a lot of the details like that, wearing gloves while you out there scouting, and if you find these big scrapes, that's where them old does is gonna come in, and a lot of young small bucks, they'll come in there and check them scrapes out. But them big bucks is gonna walk down below it on one side or down below the other and use the wind, and they gonna sneak in there, and if they don't pick up nothing, they out of there. And it's the same way a lot of times too around some of these food plots. You need to have you a couple different stands, 75 or 100 yards away from some of these food plots, because I promise you, and me and a guy just talked this week, and I've been saying this for years. They'll come in the edge of some of these areas and check them out and let that wind blow across these food plots. And if they don't smell some does out there, well, they won't never come in there. And this was a guy that uses one of these big drones. You can buy one of these drones for about $20,000, and you can pick you can pick a tick out on a deer with that drone. It works so good. If a guy won't hardly ever lose a deer anymore, because if you hit a deer, you can take that drone and find it. And he was paying attention to these deer, and he said about 75% of the time when these deer when they get 3 or 4 years old, they don't hardly ever come into these food plots no more. But you could fly that drone 75 or 100 yards down below these food plots, and he said it was unbelievable at the deer that you could pick up where they coming in and checking these food plots. And we sitting up there watching food plots and never see a deer, And he went back. He had guys actually hunting deer, and while they were in a stand, he was checking out some of them and then going back, and he couldn't tell them that, hey, you got a buck down in there, because it's against the law for him knowing with that drone right there that he's looking at, observing these deer from, their behavior from that drone. And it was unbelievable at the knowledge that he's picking up by flying that drone.
Drones are amazing things. I mean,
they are.
And I hate,
I hate to sit here and just, kind of talk like I'm blowing it up, but man, I get pumped up. I like turkey hunting. I get pumped up, and I don't, right now I got both shoulders messed up and I can't bow hunt. I can crossbow hunt, but I can't bow hunt no more like I used to. And man, I love it. I used to love that bow hunting, and if you really, it's something about when you shoot that doe that comes in there, when that broadhead whacks that doe and makes that quap sound, man, you can't get any better than that.
No, but you've done it when you hear that sound.
That's right. That's it.
Now, what do you suggest? Say you shoot it don't matter if it's a doe or a big old buck. Are you the guy that you're going to sit there 30, 40 minutes before you get down and start messing around looking for it if it runs off? Or are you going to just jump down there?
Yeah, I do. I like to make, I like to make sure I give it time because, you don't really know when you bow hunt, you don't really know 100% what kind of shot, that you just made on a deer. So, give it a little bit of time, because I've seen some deer that would get hit pretty good and then wouldn't run but about 50 yards and they would lay down. And then if you ever get them back up again, you chances are you may not ever see that deer again. Where if you'd have given him at least 45 minutes, then you probably could have recovered that deer. And then if you smell that arrow and you smell guts on it, best thing to do is just, give yourself about an overnight deal. I mean, because you chances are you may not ever find that deer, or either go get you a good dog or get you somebody with a drone and they can find that deer for you.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people out there now. It ain't hard to look on the internet and find somebody with tracking dogs or drones or both, so.
Oh yeah. With no doubt about it. Now I'm gonna tell y'all something else, and I'm gonna let y'all go because I've been running my mouth so much.
Oh no, you're fine.
Y'all gonna have to come back. Y'all gonna have to come back and get me on another 2 or 3 times to talk about some of this deer hunting stuff. Let me tell you one thing I like to do more so. We sitting there over some white oaks and stuff, and you see deer droppings all over the place, and the deer are just piling in there. But you never see one. How many times have both of y'all, you and Dustin both, have sat there and deer are there, but you don't never see them in a daylight hour. I mean, how many times?
Yeah. More times than I see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, I'll always carry you a good light and try to, use some little zip ties or bright eyes where you can get out of the stand. And, but sit in the stand a lot of times, another 30 to 40 minutes or 40. I mean, sit there an hour sometimes and hear deer coming a long ways. And if they coming from the south or coming from the west, and then the next day, the deer were coming in there and they would feed around and all that, and then they'd move on. But, that way you could get a good copy on which way them deer are coming in that stand where you at right there. They coming from the south, and if you sit there and they'll feed up under you a lot of times and then let them get on out of the way. And then you come out and go in there the next day, at 9 or 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock or so, and see, let's say they were coming from the south, and go down that way and try to pick out where these deer are coming from. And then a lot of times, I have done that move about 3 times on these deer, and then I'd catch them in there with the daylight times coming to, I may have to move about a half a mile where I originally was set up, and to be able to kill the deer that was coming to these acorns that I'm setting on. And so, I use a lot of climbers, and that way I could move and keep up with these deer, and being able to and I would get where I could, finally see deer in the daylight hours. I may have to move on them 3 or 4 times, but hey, you can learn a lot by learning where they're coming from, and then go get down and try to figure out why they're coming from that way.
Yes, sir. Well, look, before we do get off of here, I know we touched on it. Let's talk about your tournament. It is coming up, right?
Yeah, it is, and I'm full.
You full up?
Full on it.
Good deal.
I'm filled up on it. I got 32 guys gonna come in, and they coming in. But maybe next year I gotta get you and Dustin down here one year with me.
Oh, we'd love to. I mean, if you just need us to come down while it's going on, help you drag deer this year, you just let us know. We more than happy to come down, just help out.
That'd be a good deal to come down and do a live remote podcast with some of these guys. I got them coming in from all over. I got, one guy coming in from Maryland, I know, this year. And, I got them coming from Mississippi, Jacksonville, Florida. And, we got a lot of guys I got a lot of guys from around Florence, right above y'all.
Yep.
There that come
okay.
in. I got 3 or 4 teams from up there coming in. And, and like I said, I've been doing this stuff over 30 years fiddling with these tournaments. And boy, I've learned so much from fellow bow hunters. And believe it or not, you get where you can't learn something, it's shame on you, is all I'm going to have to say.
So when is the tournament? When do you normally have it?
Okay, well, every year I have it right around Halloween every year.
Okay.
I generally, down here, we have to wait till the October the 25th where you can shoot does,
Okay.
And our doe season comes in, and that's what we kill. Honestly, we kill more. I think we killed 30 deer last year, but we kill more deer. I mean, more does. I mean, it's pretty much a management deal. And I'm going to say for the last 10 years, we've probably killed 6 Pope and Youngs out of the last 10 years, the deer that went over 125 inch. But, I'm down here down below Montgomery, and we don't have the big deer that, like Wilcox County and Dallas County and some of them areas, or over around Union Springs.
Oh, yeah.
That area.
Yeah.
We got these old a lot of knot deer down here. They look like they got a lot of knot on the head. And but they enjoyable. And I tell you what, though, buddy, they some of the hardest deer in the world to kill. Mark Brenner, one of your buddies.
Oh,
too.
Yeah. And he was on the podcast not too long ago. We had him and Misty actually come up. Go ahead.
Okay. And they come down here with one of his buddies. And when I first met Mark, they killed 11 deer down here in 3 days. And so I was ready for them to go home. And but what they done though is they got on a bunch of what we call chestnut white oaks, and that's some big ones. And I know y'all know what they are.
I know exactly. That's my favorite tree.
And they killed all 11 deer within 100 yards. And that just goes to show you guys, you shoot a deer one day don't mean you can't go right back. But, if you keep it good and clean and don't disturb it, you can't go right back and, kill another deer. Now, they moved their stands in around a little bit, but mostly right there. And it was because I went in, I made them show me where they were hunting at and how they were hunting, and they were hunting over these old chests. And it was it was on a little creek bottom right in there. And it was about, I ran about 20 white oaks, chestnuts right there in the little, and it was clear cuts all around it. And so it was bees coming to honey right there. They were coming in there.
I'm supposing he won it that year with them 11 deer.
Yeah, they won it that year.
I'll be dog.
Yep. Yeah, and that's how I got to know Mark, because I went out there and I made them show me where they were hunting at. I wanted to find out how they were killing all them deer. And then they wounded. They picked up 11 deer, but they wounded 2 more good bucks that we didn't get.
Wow.
So, they were whacking and stacking them.
It sounds like it.
Hey, I'll let y'all know what all was going on.
Yes, sir.
And where I can get y'all down here. And y'all don't forget about me now, and give me another call. And
yes.
Hey, for the listeners out there, hey, I appreciate y'all listening to the podcast. And, hopefully y'all were able to understand some of this old stuff from old Turkey Man. And, hey, I love it, guys. And wish everybody good luck. It'll be coming up before long, and maybe they can get out and kill them a good deer this year.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you taking the time. I know it's late and you've been busy, but we really appreciate you taking the time coming on, and maybe some of these younger hunters and even as older hunters. I know I'm picking up on stuff right now too. And hopefully,
I tell you what, I was going to tell you, I've killed a lot of good deer off persimmon trees, and one of the biggest bucks I ever killed in Alabama come off a kudzu patch. And so little things like that, you can figure them out. What, like I was saying, food is, and then a lot of times too, later on in the year, and I'll get on there and we'll talk about gun hunting. So,
yes, sir.
But the worst thing that we can do though is don't shoot your does in your food plots. Leave them alone. Let them does feel comfortable coming in there. Get off in the woods somewhere and shoot your does, and leave your food plots alone. And then when it gets that good cold day, and when everything gets just right, you can go in there and kill you a good buck off them food plots.
That's some good advice right there. Good advice. And we, like I said, we sure appreciate you. And all right,
brother. Well, look, God bless y'all, and y'all please stay in touch. All right.
We will. Yes, thank you so much. And we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you now. All right, man. Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, did you learn anything?
Always. Eddie's full of knowledge, whether you talk turkey, deer, it don't matter.
I'm just amazed. I didn't know all this. I thought in my mind, and I should have known better, because he knows everybody.
Yeah. I didn't know that he went back that far with like it being Fred Bear's camp.
Fred Bear's camp. Do you know who he's talking about when he said Ken Tucker?
Yeah.
Okay, because he had that Ken Tucker's Outdoor Showcase. When I was a kid, I didn't miss it on Sunday mornings or whenever it come on. And I guess he probably was deer hunting with him on that show. I don't know. I wanted to ask him, but
I'm going to look up and see that hunt with him with Michael Waddell.
Yeah.
He said it was on the Real Tree. Well, I'd have to look back to the videos.
That makes sense, because he's a Real Tree man.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I can't hold it against him.
No.
No, he's too good of a friend.
Chevrolet or Ford,
Yeah. That's
kind of one of them things.
Just be careful when you ride at night in the rain. Anyway, you will, if you're not religious, you'll be religious by the time you get out of that truck.
That's right.
So, I'm going to tell you what, I just enjoyed it. I enjoy having him on. It's only the second time he's been on, but, like I said, I picked up some good hints and things out there. He's been doing this a long time. And when he said 40 years, I believe it, maybe closer to 50 years. I don't know.
Well, I know.
Because he said he didn't pick it up bow hunting until he was in the barber shop. So
I'm thinking 80s, considering sometime early mid 80s from you
he ain't name dropping when he's just talking about his friends.
Yeah.
I mean Ken Tucker and that bunch of Fred Bear, Alex Rutledge. That's who we was talking about when he kept talking about Alex. Everybody out there, we're talking about Alex Rutledge. He has a podcast called American Roots Outdoors. I suggest go listen to it a little bit. It's a radio show, and then they have a special end section on it every show for the podcast listeners. And if y'all listen to us, we've had Alex on here too. He had the next greatest turkey man on. That was a big boy. He was a big boy. But anyway, I don't know. I was just a great time tonight.
Yep.
So
a lot of knowledge in that head.
A lot of knowledge, and that's why I like to get him just to pick a little bit here and there. I sure was hoping he'd say, "Come on down, come on down." But he's probably got enough help this year. Maybe we ought to sign up for that thing next year. Just go ahead and get on the books. I don't know what the entry fee is. I didn't even ask him.
I used to know that. So how I come about this, I was at Bass Pro Shop in Chicago right after I got back out of the military, and he was there doing a seminar, and he asked a question. I answered it. He knew I wasn't from Chicago from this accent I got. Yeah. He said, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from Alabama." And he said, "You stay after this. We got to talk." And he handed me a piece of paper with his hunt on there with all the details and said, "You need to come down here and try that hunt." Well, I mean, I hadn't been back a month. Yeah. I didn't really, I hadn't got to there yet, but, and he sold me one of them bags he's talking about.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. When he worked for H&S, they were a green zip-up bag, and he said, "What do you smell right here, boy?" And I said, "I don't smell nothing." He unzipped it, and there was about 2 inches of gasoline in the bottom of it. They were really good. That's one of the bags I lost when my tote come off the truck down by the airport in Birmingham and got run over. Yeah, it shredded it.
Oh.
And I did see, I think maybe they've got them back out. They're really good scent-proof bags. But
well, I mean, the man was ahead of his time. Think about this now. This was before the HS Strut days. He was making a scent dispenser.
Mm-hmm.
Because
the earliest scent dispensers I remember is it was a little camo, and it had the little plastic or rubber tube that made the little curl, and it would just, it was a drip.
Yeah, it was a drip.
That's
it was a scrape dripper, what it was.
Like for me, that's the earliest memory I've got of a scent dispenser.
But it sounded like this thing had a fan in it.
Yeah, like
you put your dope on the cotton or some kind of pellets he was making, and it just blew it out. Well, he said he hung it up in a tree. Now I'd love to sing
from a lanyard.
From a lanyard, and the buck run off with it.
Yeah.
So,
well, if I'd have known this hemp rope and a little urine was going to make everybody rich, I'd have been just rolling with that.
Hey, everybody. If y'all are looking for one of those scent ropes, by God, Meat and Two's got them. You just let us know, and we'll get it packaged up and sent to you ASAP. Very affordable. You just let us know, and we'll let you know the price.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm amazed at the stuff like that
just look,
people will pay money for that rope.
Well, the thing about it is, people's probably been doing that for 100 years. You know what I mean? But somebody decide, hey, I'm gonna do a good marketing scheme. I'm gonna package this with a nice packaging, and I'm gonna get it out there on all these platforms.
Well, I used to use these things. I guess they still make them. I don't know if they're not called Pee Wheelie Wick. You ever see it? It was like a tube, and it had, for lack of a better word, like gauze on it, but it wasn't gauze. It was heavy duty. And you poured your scent, like you tinks or whatever doe urine in it. And that thing, it had a little wheel on it. You just wound it down in there, and it's top screwed on it. And you kept it. You just put it in your pack or your pocket.
Right, didn't have to worry about a leak.
And then when you got to where you wanted to, you pull that thing out. It would stretch out about 6 inches or so, and you hung it in your tree. And then when you got through hunting, you got through there and picked it back up, and you rolled it back up. Unlike,
I remember.
But that all come from tampons or stuff.
Well, I remember using the way I was taught by my dad and granddad. We used 35 millimeter camera things and put cotton balls in there, and we hung those up and then
take a clothespin, glue to it or something. Yeah, I done that.
Snap the lid back on it and throw it in your little hunting bag, or your pocket.
Well, I'll tell you what happened to me one night. I was hunting Barber County. I was pretty new to, that wasn't my first club. They had a lot of deer, but me and the first wife and Christian, didn't have Caleb at the time. She'd come down there with me. And for some reason, I carried them tinks, and I'm not a big scent guy. For some reason, I had a bottle of tinks, and it was in my pocket. And I was standing around, somehow fiddling around, playing a little pocket pool probably, and I unscrewed the top of that tinks, and it run down through those coveralls and through my insulated underwear and down my leg. And she wouldn't even let me in the camper.
You was a big scent wick.
Oh, God. From then on, it was cold. It was in January. That's down in Barber County, but it still gets cold, trust me. And, I had to get naked outside, leave my clothes, had to change. And at the time, it's probably the best thing ever happened because, like Eddie said, you got to hang your clothes inside. it's going to smell like inside. So
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. I know we probably rambled on. I was just excited to have Eddie on, and he's a good friend. Been I can't say a mentor on turkey hunting for me my whole life. I mean, he was the probably the first guy I ever saw on TV hunting them and killing them.
Right. I mean, and same for me. I mean, I followed him a long time, you know.
And like I told you, I've watched him in several seminars back when I was a kid, and he was like a superstar. I was afraid to talk to him, but he's so personable and down to earth and talk to anybody. And I just think the world of him. I think the world of him. And best thing ever happened was that day when he was at the deer show and he hooked us up on the Osceola hunt with him.
Yeah.
It was one of the best things. Made a good friend, and you can't say that about a lot of famous people or big time hunters. You might have met them. Alex Rhodes is a good example.
Mm-hmm.
We know him. He ain't a friend. I mean, not a friend. I think of Eddie. I mean, he knows who you are.
We've spent quite a bit of time with Eddie now.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's just,
well, we know his whole family now.
Oh yeah.
So
and all the kids, and it's something else.
And the grandkids, and I hope we get to keep making memories with
Yes,
Eddie.
sir. Yes, sir.
We're all getting older, but you know, I tell you what, he's a go-getter.
He is. I mean, y'all don't know what time it is here, but that man has been out all day long and still volunteered to come on in here tonight and talk to us about this.
And you can bet when show season starts, he'll be at one every week, and you know.
Oh yeah.
So he's a worker. He's a workaholic. But
you got anything else?
No, guys. If you're already hunting by now, wear your safety harness. Check the straps.
Lifeline.
Boy,
I ain't got one, I gotta have one. Joe's let me down. He ain't come to the.
I'll tell you a good story here in a minute.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, just be safe out there.
Safe.
Check your cables on them old lock-ons and your ratchets on your ladders. And if you're climbing with a climber and it's an old API or something, check the chains, check the cables. I mean, just little stuff. Make sure your wrist pins that go through there ain't damaged or broke. I saw,
talking about that, and this was in Kentucky, it wasn't in Alabama. Mm-hmm. But their wildlife thing posted a picture of a man that fell 25 feet out of his lock-on. Where it folded down, it had the plastic rubber-coated steel cables.
Aircraft cable, yep.
Where it crimped, it had rusted through. And when he stood up on it, it broke and he went to the ground. It didn't kill him.
There is several accidents with those cables.
I think they should be outlawed
every year.
Personally, I don't like them.
That's one thing I do like, and I'm not, naming because we don't have any sponsors or whatever.
If you'd like to, call us.
But that's one thing I do like about like the Millennium Lock-On. You've got your receiver. At the end of the year, you snatch the thing out and take it. If you want to leave your receiver, it's got a chain.
There's a chain.
Leave
you
it.
Get up there and check your chain. You're going to have to probably loosen it up anyway if you leave it.
But leaving those cables hanging out in the sun, the squirrels chewing on them, and this and that, just out in the elements. I mean, they're a lot of money.
9
just
times
snatch
out of
them
10,
down.
Them things come out of China somewhere. A lot of times, not many are made here no more, and they're using cheap steel cables.
It could have been built on a Friday.
Well, it could have been,
or Monday.
Hey, it could be a bad crimp. This one actually had rusted through, and the cable had rotted.
And that's what you see more than the crimp being. Usually because I'm sure they have something that presses down on those to test them because they're what is that what is on tree stand?
TMI
No, that's too much info.
TS.
Tree Stand Association, TSA or TS, something like that. Anyway, I mean, there's certain standards, and so I figure they're, because everybody's lawsuit happy. But just take a few minutes to check things.
Yes.
We just put that 20-foot Millennium up, 21-foot. It's forever tall Sunday, and you know what? It's on there. It's sturdy. But I've already went and bought some different stuff. I'm not satisfied with it. If I send you over there at 4:00 in the morning, for an all-day session, I want it setting right, and I want you to know when you grab the ladder that it's fixated to that tree.
Of my truck.
One of my old man favorite stands, and they're great, man. Did you go get her a Bass Pro Shop
I had to.
while they're closed?
I said I'm gonna go ahead and I may go down. Me and her may ride down there Saturday morning, spend the night or something. I need to pick up I got to load my tractor and carry it back down there just to get my bush hog and box blade get home. So
yeah,
but I thought I'd go ahead and get that stand up. I'm not going to be doing a lot of bow hunting if I do any, but it'll be a great spot to bow hunt.
Yeah.
But this last year, them deer, just like Eddie said, they hung off down in the woods. We knew there was 2 shooter bucks in there. And I swear, me and my brother, he went down there with me a good bit once he found out there's some bucks. But he would hunt that stand on that field. We come out at dark, 6 o'clock is dark. And before we got 7-8 miles up the road, camera go off, and there they was. They come out. It was black dark, though, 7-8 o'clock. Anyway, we need to get off here. I know we both of us got to work tomorrow, but, man, it was a good time visiting with the turkey man.
It was great.
Well, good deal, everybody. I guess if we don't talk to you before, we'll talk to you in about a week. And take care of your trees because that's where the turkeys sleep.